right, we're live.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome, beautiful people. Welcome to another Menstrual Talk, episode 2, with one half of the Black Foxes.
Yay!
Right? So, start off by doing a land acknowledgement. I am on the stolen land of the Osage people. Nikki.
All right. I'm Nikki. I'm in Colorado Springs. I'm on stolen land of the Ute, Cheyenne, and Apache.
And I'm Alexa. I'm in Santa Barbara now, which is the land of the Chumash. And in the Santa Barbara area, specifically the band of the Barbareño, which love that name.
And I am on stolen land of the Muskogee and Creek, and it's also known as just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. So.
Welcome. And our disclaimer, I'm just going to read it. Thank you, Aisha, for this beautiful outline. We would like to disclose that we are not experts in this topic, and we do not consider this information to be certified medical advice. We are not equipped to speak to every experience with menstruation on the gender spectrum. This discussion is about our own experiences with menstruation and what we have learned. Our goal is simply to foster a space to openly discuss in the most inclusive way what is considered to be a taboo or inappropriate topic. We hope that this encourages folks to speak more openly and honestly with one another so that we can support each other. We also hope to continue this discussion with a series of talks in the future where we can invite experts and folks of different experiences to provide more insight. So if you are an expert, definitely reach out to us. We would love to have you on the platform and share your knowledge with other folks. And today we'll be mostly just discussing products, pros, cons, how we plan and pack for being outside while menstruating, and also for training as well. And just to kind of start out, quick recap of part 1. So last time we did a quick chat about disposables, pads, tampons, temporary cups, reusable pads, tampons, sponges, underwear, and just updates on each other. I did not get the underwear yet. I've been super lazy. I've been meaning to try it, but I did notice the difference between the cup. I do have 2 different sizes and 2 different types, and I've noticed that since I've been using one recently, I realized I forgot what brand, but it was firmer and it created a better seal. And it was actually, I think it was like the medium size as well. And I found that cup to be better on heavy flow days, and I could do it quickly. I was able to feel confident that the seal happened, and then I wouldn't have to worry about any leakage after the fact. Anyone else want to share some updates from some things they tried since last time?
For me, I haven't tried the menstrual cup yet. I'm just nervous for some reason. But I switched back to pads for the majority of the time of my cycle. For quick activity, I still use insert products of tampons, but I've noticed when I use pads, I have less cramps. So just for more comfort level, I switched to pads.
That's interesting. I'm still using the cup, tried and true for me. I do still want to try some underwear because kind of the way my flow works is it's really heavy for the first like 2 or 3 days, and then after that it's like kind of just a trickle. So I'd be interested in trying underwear where I don't really have to use the cup the entire time. But yeah, since our last conversation, I've discovered, because our phones are listening to us all the time, that there are now like boy short style cut, which I hate that term, but there's that style cut for period underwear. and I think it's by Thanks. I think they're introducing it now, which I'd be willing to try. Maybe not for like road cycling, wearing under bibs or anything, but maybe for like touring or like mountain biking or something like that.
They seem to have a bunch of different styles. I've never tried their stuff, but they have like, I feel like they have like leggings and boy shorts and leotards, like a whole, like there's Will. Like they just have a whole line of different options, which I'm kind of like, I don't know if I would want to be like trapped in like an outfit, like a outfit. But I haven't tried it, so I can't like knock it.
That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely have options, like activity-based options, which is kind of cool. So maybe it's only a matter of time until we get cycling bibs that are like dedicated.
Yeah, one day.
Yeah, I wonder if the leotard is more like if it's for somebody who's doing that sport. Like if you're doing dance and you're already wearing like minimal clothes, maybe it helps in that regard. I don't know.
I mean, people also really like just wearing leotards as shirts. So it could just be a fashion thing. I'm not fashionable, so I.
Oh yeah. The bodysuit with the
body. That's
so
probably
it's
what they call it. It's probably called a bodysuit and not a leotard.
That's still what it is. I mean, either way. Yeah.
Oh, nice. And so let's like hop into maybe what kind of training we do and how maybe our periods affect our training. Maybe I'll start out of order and do Alexa.
Ooh, okay. Great to start because I don't have a whole lot to say. I don't think I've ever really like properly like trained. I think most of what I would call training is like maybe something comes up in an event or something that I know I'm going to do that's going to require a lot of energy, a lot of endurance. And I say, okay, well, like I haven't been writing a lot. Maybe I should start writing more consistently and making sure that I'll be able to like just keep up. For example, I'm going to be working as a tour guide again pretty soon. So I've been like, I haven't been writing consistently like every day or every other day for a while, like I'm gonna have to do. So now I'm like trying to hit the ground running and ride consistently every day, which I have not done when I was living in Salt Lake City and the weather was so like crazy. But I think when it comes to menstruating, what I've found when I do ride consistently and I can actually kind of keep track of how it's making me feel, I've noticed that it's always really hard the first day, like because I just have unbearable cramps. So I have a really hard time being motivated to ride. But there have been times where I've like had to work, meaning I've had to get up and ride with our guests on our tour. And I've just like, all right, the night before I take ibuprofen, I take magnesium and iron and just make sure that I'm super hydrated. So when I get up that morning, I'm not feeling like groggy like I usually do, and not in pain like I usually would be, or at least not as much. And then I just ride. And at least like having the obligation, I'm like, okay, cool, like I'm doing this. But then like the next couple of days, I almost have like an extra bit of kick or like punch to my riding. Like I feel a little bit more motivated. So I usually feel like that's when I end up making PRs is when I'm on like menstruating. And maybe it's just like the mental, like the fact that I'm angry for no reason. So little things will like get me going. And I'm like, I'm just gonna sprint for no reason. So maybe it's more the mental state that I'm in that gets me motivated, but I feel like I do okay. But I think that's really all it is for me in terms of training and how menstruating kind of overlaps with it.
What about you, Nikki?
So I have a goal to where like I try to ride at least 40 miles a week for mountain biking. To me, I think that's a lot. Um, and then I'm hoping those 40 miles will be hopefully out on the trails. It's like with my job. So sometimes I can't always make it out, and then I'll just like spit on the trainer, Swift. And following the exercise or the riding, I do weights and core about 4 times a week. Just all body strengthening. Yeah, all body strengthening and core. I also like to do the Apple Fitness indoor cycling that they have on the Apple Watch. It's really fun. It kicks my butt every time. They're hard. Like there's like no like there's all like high intensity, and I'm just like, wow. I'll just go as hard as I can. And then just like training, I don't do much training, just those two weights and cycling. But during my cycle, I believe it's best to listen to your body during this time. Depending on the symptoms and how I feel, I reduce the intensity of my riding weights. For me, I noticed that when I do work out during my cycle, my periods are lighter and shorter. So I work out at least like I try to work out just to have that, a lighter period and a less longer cycle is always good for me. But I'm not gonna lie, it is a struggle to do these physical activities, especially the first and second day, because it's where I'm the heaviest and I cramp the most. But I just feel amazing after each ride, so I just push to do it. Yeah.
Aisha.
Yeah, so I am training for road racing, and it's pretty intense, I guess. I mean, it entails like strength training, which is for me mostly body work, like body weight stuff. I'm not like lifting heavy weights or anything. That's not really my thing, but body weight training, strength training, yoga, and then a lot of riding. And I'm used to being in charge of myself for the most part. Like I've had a coach for a while, but I kind of have been able to dictate what my season looks like. But now that I'm like joining a team, I'm trying to get more regimented and beholden to like, you can't just decide to like do something else. And like understanding that races will fall on, they can fall right during your cycle, which for me happens all the time. Like even when I was by myself, that would happen a lot, and I would still race, but it's like it's just me. I don't feel as like responsible as if I have to be a teammate. So like trying to like train my body to do stuff anyway, and like the first day or two is usually like, please don't talk to me. I don't want to move anything. I don't want to go anywhere. I just want to lay on this couch or stay in the bed. And I never do that, but I always want to. So I think for me, it's just been a matter of like giving myself like time limits. It's like, all right, I'm going to lay on the couch or lay in this bed for like, this is the hour that I'm allowed to do that. And I have to get up and do the things that I'm supposed to do. I do notice that I feel weaker. Like I know some people are like, I'm stronger during my cycle, and I am not that person, like at all. It's like, F you. I wish. It sounds fantastic, but not me. Yeah, I definitely notice a huge drop in energy, a huge drop in like strength and power. And it's pretty frustrating because it happens every month. You're like working hard, and all of a sudden it's just like, did I like forget to charge my battery? Like what is going on? And so yeah, I don't know. I guess we don't really have control over it, but I do not appreciate that we have to do this every month. And you'd think by now, like I'm 34, that I'd be like, oh, like adjusted, but I'm like not adjusted at all. I'm just like, this is trash. every month it feels like trash. So that's where I'm at.
I hate that it's long enough that like sometimes I'll almost forget that it's even a thing. And then all of a sudden one day I'm like having an attitude and like everything sucks and everyone's annoying me. And I'm like, why do I feel like this? And I'm like, oh no, it's happening. Why does this have to happen again?
It's usually when like when I feel like everything is stupid and I don't want to be here. I'm like, oh wait, yep, it's coming. I'm either bonking or my cycle is happening. Like I need a snack and a nap pronto.
It's like I get mad because I know this is about to happen. So I'm like, I'm mad on top of being mad because I have to go through it.
Yep.
There's nothing you can do about it. It's so awful.
Oh
And it's
man.
crazy because, like, you know, it's not just that week of the cycle. I believe like the woman's body goes through something every week of each month. So it's just not 1 week. It's every single week of every single month, every single day.
Yeah. I think yeah, so I think for me, I'm definitely like Alexa where I forget that it's happening. Like I forget that it's coming. And then I'll have this moment of the whole I got an attitude. I want snacks. I want like sweet. I want salty. And I do want to like chill out. And that like, I don't know, I do be extra like stank. And I'm like, oh, and then it'll come and I'm like, oh yeah, that's what that's about. And yeah, that's the struggle. But I think for me in the training, like between like I'm trying to actually reset right now, but because I'm gonna talk about on that trip, it just threw me all out of whack. And then I did the COVID shot, and so that kind of I'm also waiting to see how that's gonna affect me too. But let me not get off on a tangent. But yeah, so for me in training, I try to like do like a little bit of like push-ups and yoga and some like core stuff, and then of course like workouts. But I definitely do feel weaker like a couple days before and then like the first 2 days. So there's always that period of just feeling weaker and more like heavier and weight. And it's almost like this button gets flipped on in my head where I get more weight conscious, where before I wasn't even thinking about my weight. And all of a sudden I'm just thinking about my weight a lot. And then boom, my period will come. And then I'm like, oh yeah, thinking about weight, wanting snacks and having an attitude. I should already know by now. Like I've been doing this for a minute. I think if I was more, and I got into the bad habit of not writing it down as much. I think when I went through like 2020, I think part of 2019 of not having a coach, I kind of fell off. And I like still don't have a coach, but I like fell off of keeping track. But I need to get back on it just to stay on top of the issues that may arise, especially if I like fall behind.
Have you ever used a tracker app?
I did, and you know what? I would forget to hit the button to turn it off, and it'd be like your period is 50 days long. And it'd be like you might want to seek a doctor. And I was like,
well, okay. I mean, the one I've used a couple of them, and usually they let you like tell them how long it is on average, and I think you can adjust it if you need to, but it'll cut it off after 4. Like for me, mine is usually around 4 days, give or take. So it'll like you have to hit when it starts, and then it'll do 4 days from there, and then map out like the calculated of when the next ones are supposed to be for a couple months forward.
So they got an auto stop on one?
Well, yeah, it's like it essentially is auto stop where like once you decide it started, like once you notify the app that it started, it'll just map it out for 4 days.
Oh, so which one is that? Because I had that because I didn't do that for the one that I had, so maybe I should try a different one.
I am indiscriminate for apps. I can
I
that's
use
what I'm using.
I
Because there's
use
that one that was like
Peacock.
selling information, right?
Oh, yeah, one did get hacked, right? A real big one. They hacked their whole thing, and everybody's got their
Oh yeah.
What?
yeah.
Which is like, why are you hacking a period app? But
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's creepy.
Mm.
Yeah.
This
What was
one
the
is
one you were
called
using?
My Calendar. I don't know. There's this weird cat. Apparently, I didn't mark this month.
You going on 50, 11 days? No.
We're like, you okay?
I do
Which one is that?
P tracker.
Petra.
Okay. I used one like a decade ago. Like when I was in like college, I think. Or like right out of college, I like started to use one. But that's because I was a little active. So I was trying to keep track. But yeah, I haven't tracked it in a long time. I kind of like generally know. But it was interesting because I think there's been conversation, well, at least I've kind of been in some conversations about the moon cycle and how it overlaps with certain people's like menstrual cycles, and how there's people who menstruate like new moon versus full moon. But I think biologically, like way back before we like started building shelter and like living in ways that weren't really natural, I think we always menstruated on the new moon.
You're on your own, friend. I don't know nothing about
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Someone explained this to me before. I think if I can remember right, I think they said that women would menstruate on the new moon because during the full moon it would be easier to like find a mate when you're like ovulating.
Oh dear.
Because it's like light out. I don't know. I think that's what they had described. I could be totally wrong. Don't quote me
This
on that.
feels like the patriarchy. Someone in the comments mentioned that Garmin's app has a menstrual tracking thing, and I did notice that. I can pull mine up. I did notice it, but it's not in sync with my other app, and I never figured out how to. Oh, I can edit it. Okay. Well, there we go. Yeah, it's like a little calendar, and then when you go back to like the main screen, it like tells you like where you are, and like I don't know what all this information means, but I'm supposed to avoid alcohol, which is fine because I don't drink very much.
I guess Wahoo better get on it.
My body and cause imbalance in my hormones. I don't want none of that. That sounds terrible.
Wait, it told you to avoid alcohol, but shouldn't that mellow you out?
I don't know. I'm not. I feel like these apps just like make you feel like you need them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just tell me when it is. That's all I want from you.
Yep.
I don't want to be surprised anymore because I'm too old for that. Just give me a little alert. Let me know it's coming, and then that's all I need.
Yeah. Oh my God. I think I would like to not be a surprise because I'm still taking blood thinners, and it'd be like a Red River, so that's not cool. And so, it's just like it's you just don't want the surprise. But I do try to keep. I think in preparation, I try to keep 'cause I don't want to just be rolling around carrying a cup, but I do try to keep extra like tampons and like saddlebags, because there's tampons are smaller, so you can like insert a tampon in a saddlebag or other bags. I try to just carry them like everywhere. Like you go in my car, there's tampons and pads. You go in the bag, there's tampons and pads. You just ready at the always ready, which is helpful because we go on the ride and somebody else needs one, and then boom, here you go. I got a tampon or pad for you.
I mean, with the cup, I try and keep it handy around the time that I feel like it's gonna start happening. But when I went to training camp last month, I had to send my bags got separated from me, and I had to send I had to send my stuff ahead because I couldn't get it on it was a whole complicated thing. And literally the day after my period started and like my special period underwear were in the bag. And I was like, of course I did this. I still had my cup with me, but I was like, what was I like, what is the point of like having these things if I'm just going to send them away?
That
I
is
think like in a pinch, I would go back to like I just buy a tampon from a pharmacy or something if I really needed it. I just try to avoid that when I can. But yeah, I feel like the cup is pretty easy to keep around.
I have a little container for it that will like that you can like smush kind of, so it helps it kind of be a little more compact.
Yeah.
But yeah.
How many cups do y'all have? Do y'all just have one, multiple?
I just have one, but didn't you mention, Alexa, that you had like 2 different sizes for like different flow? Or who was that? Somebody mentioned. Oh, that was you. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I was wondering if anybody else did that.
It's smart.
I wonder too. Yeah.
I am lazy. I'm not like just like you haven't ordered the underwear. I just haven't like. I was like, that's a good idea. I should do it, and then forgot completely about it until this minute.
Me too.
Does anybody find that like for those who are using like pads, do you feel like you have it like see a difference versus organic versus non-organic? Does your body respond differently? I don't know. Has anyone ever noticed that?
Like the material itself is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've heard different things, especially for people who are inserting. So if you're using a tampon, I've heard different things that they can feel different, that they actually have less cramps if they use organic versus
my
not.
question, so maybe I'm just like not looking at other stores for these, but every like organic cotton I find, it doesn't have an applicator. So that's why I haven't used them yet. Or it's cardboard applicator, so that's why I haven't used organic cotton. But maybe because it's just the place I'm looking at only has the type of organic tampons. So maybe I'm just looking in the wrong stores.
I mean, it's probably that like the organic companies, like the companies that make the organic products, are doing it more for an environmental purpose. And in that regard, it makes sense that they would only come with no or a cardboard applicator because the plastic is less favorable for the environment. But I guess people aren't considering the possibility that you're using an organic tampon because it's just you want to and not because you want to like save the world in that moment.
Yeah.
So of the group of us, I've kind of noticed everyone saying that they don't necessarily prepare. Is that still the case for everyone? Like, what are you doing? Like, if you know it might be coming, like your spidey senses are telling you that period is coming, do you re-up on like water and vitamins? Like, do you like get your body ready for that, or like who's doing that?
Like I've heard lots of great things about people who like eat specific vegetables or like take certain vitamins leading in like more iron, or it sounds really responsible.
I have a worse diet, so I definitely don't.
But we're over here trying to remember to input the thing in the app.
I do. Magnesium is the main thing I'll never forget. Magnesium and ibuprofen. Like when I know it's about to happen, I check and see how much I have, and I'm like, okay, I'm good for the next, for this cycle or whatever. Or oh, I need to go get more. Just because I notice a difference, especially because the big thing for me when I'm menstruating is my bowel movements. If I'm not eating right or hydrating right, stuff ain't moving right. And I'll get like constipated from the cramps and stuff. And the magnesium helps me. I just notice when I am actually taking magnesium that I do go to the bathroom regularly. But other than that, and I already don't really do dairy because I'm pretty lactose intolerant. But I remember Shay mentioning something about dairy potentially giving you less cramps. And I have noticed that since I pretty consistently haven't had any dairy really over the last year or so. When I was working as a guide previously, like pre-pandemic, I would kind of like cheat on myself, even though I knew my stomach wasn't going to act right, and I would eat dairy all the time because our picnics and like the restaurants we eat at have dairy and everything. And yeah, my cramps are always terrible. But since then, like my cramps aren't as bad. Like I've noticed they're not like they used to wake me up in the middle of the night. I'd be like, oh, here we go, and then I couldn't get back to sleep. But now I can actually like sleep through the night, and you know it's not like totally unbearable. But that's really it. The foods and stuff. Like I've heard not to drink coffee because coffee is dehydrating and can like, you know, cause you to bloat more and cramp more. But I'm like, I'm not gonna stop drinking coffee. I drink coffee every day. I can't stop that. It's my little drug. So.
For me, like I crave chocolate every time, and actually that's the number one thing that makes me cramp the worst. So yeah, it sucks.
Oh, that's
I
not
crave
good.
it and I eat it, and I'm like, why am I in so much pain? So I just stopped eating it on my cycles, and my cramps weren't that bad. So I don't know if
Maybe
was it just sugars?
Maybe if you had dark chocolate, because chocolate is supposed to have like you're craving it because your body needs iron and magnesium when you're menstruating. And this is something I learned in college and it's funny because I was talking to some professor about it. I was having a conversation with someone else and then they popped up and they were like, oh, you know, you should eat the chocolate because actually your body's just craving iron and magnesium. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll just eat more chocolate. But maybe if it's milk chocolate, because the dairy, I don't know.
Milk chocolate is my weakness. I hate dark chocolate.
Okay. Okay. I think that maybe that's it.
It could be.
But everybody's different too, so.
Yeah.
You know.
But hot
I usually crave red meat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just straight protein.
I just want like a burger or a steak or like just anything red meat. And it's probably like the iron thing. But I will indulge in that. Gotta eat, right?
Yeah, usually I just did the most trifling thing, I think the last period. So no, it wasn't really trifling, but it was I was craving meat. And so I was like, ooh, Autumn, I got a good idea. I'm not gonna eat any bread. So I just made like this super burger. I basically a whole pack of ground meat, ground turkey.
Like a pound?
Yeah, sure, whatever a whole pack is, right? So
yes.
Look, I hooked it up, cut up red peppers and, jalapenos and onions and seasoned it, put the 2 eggs in there, stirred up so seasoned that thing to perfection. And I was like, I'm not going to make a bunch of little burgers. I'm going to just put this whole thing in the skillet. And I'm going to make a super burger. And then I can just eat and just cut it into like pie slices, just whatever. I made this big
American. What's wrong with you?
But it was everything I needed. I ate like half of that thing, and it was just mostly like meat, and I had like mostly meat and maybe a little bit of veggies and water, and I was like
a lettuce wrap. Like, you didn't have any bread on it?
No bread. It was literally like you know how you can get the spring mix in a container, just like a little bit of that and. Just eating super burger.
Salad with a big piece of meat.
That sounds good to me.
A meat salad. That's not sexy at all, but it sounds amazing.
But when you saw the skillet and I was like trying to flip it, this whole patty, I was like, I guess you could say it's like a meatloaf, but you weren't putting it in the oven, but it was just on the stovetop. Super burger.
Yeah.
Do y'all
Like-
find that you adjust your training around your cycle, or do you just kind of like push through it? Straight through?
I push through it, or I'm just like, I'm staying in bed all day. It just depends on how I feel. Like, usually, Vitaly's really good at pushing me to get up and be active because he knows it's like the best for me. And basically, like, I will regret it if I don't do it. So it's nice to have that support system to push me to do something. But sometimes she's like, no, I'm staying in bed. You could go by yourself. Leave me
I
alone.
find that, yeah, I find it's good to do a little something at least. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm like that too, where that's like I guess that's a whole nother YouTube talk about like needing to feel productive in order to be working. I need to do this workout to feel like a person, or I'll be really mad at myself. But I think even if like there's like this whole debate of like trash miles, like if like a useless workout, like if it's not even worth doing, or like just not doing it and doing something else another day. But it's like some people have a really hard time not doing that every day, where it's like, oh, I'm not feeling great, and then you don't feel great for several days in a row, and then you just look back and it's been a week, right? And if we did that every month, that's a huge chunk of time that gets thrown into the wind, which, depending on your goals, might not work out well. So
I always have this small voice in the back of my head, which is my 7th grade PE coach, who, of course, like in middle school, when people are starting to menstruate, it's painful, and we would complain. And then even when we weren't menstruating, we would use it as an excuse to like not run the mile or something. We'd be like, oh, but I'm cramping, like I can't. And he would always be like, no, scientific research shows that exercise will actually help your cramps. So I'm gonna need everybody to participate.
Oh, I would have been a problem. I would have been a problem. In 7th grade, we're not doing this.
Well, little Miss Obedient Alexa, because I was always obedient. I didn't challenge too much. So I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Science.
Yeah, science. That's all you got to tell me is that it's science. So, yeah. And I think, I would still be in pain. I think it was more of a mental thing where if I told myself, okay, as long as I exercise, I think that's how it's always been since then. It's like, I'm like, oh, if I exercise, like, and find a rhythm, it'll kind of just like, I'll forget about it, or I won't think about it as much, because I'll be focused on the exercise more so than like other parts of my body will be experiencing strain and pain versus like just my abdomen.
Right.
Which is how I try to think about it, but I don't think it's true. Because I've done things while menstruating, and I'm like, nope, this is not helping.
We're not. Turn it around. Go home.
I guess it depends on what day it is, right? Too. Like if it's day 1, then you're like,
yeah, a mess.
Worse.
So my problem is not, like the actual like menstruating period itself is a problem, but it's more so the lead up to it, like the week leading into the menstruating. And my period doesn't like to just come when it's supposed to come. It likes to warn you for several days that it's coming, and then maybe one day show up. You're like, just get here so I can stop feeling like this. But I did a ride like last week, or I don't know when it was, but like literally I was like about to just start crying, and I just called Will to like meet me somewhere. I was like, I can't function. I think I was supposed to ride for 3 hours. I made it like a little over 2, and I could have made it home, but I was like, I'm cold and it's dark and I'm miserable. Just come get me. And I felt okay with that decision. I was like, if I'm about to break down in tears, I need to be at home right now. Like, because nothing was wrong, but I felt terrible. And I was like, no, we're gonna call it today. This isn't for me. Yeah. And then like during, I know one of the Instagram questions that we got was about VO2 max. When somebody said that their VO2 max feels harder, like VO2 max efforts feel harder during their cycle. And that actually, I've just experienced that. Like I had several VO2 max workouts right in there, right in my cycle. And it was like, it felt doable, but I always feel like weaker. And so it's kind of, it becomes like a mind game of trying to like motivate myself to not excuse myself from giving my full effort just because. And that's really challenging because your body is actually like, if you do feel weaker, it's hard to balance that. Like I'm trying really hard and it's still not enough, but that's okay as long as I try as hard as I can. But did I try as hard as I can? Because look at these numbers. These are not enough. That vicious cycle.
I think for me, I would agree about definitely the first day or so. Because I think my period started the day of the race that I was talking about on Tuesday when we were in our little pre-pro. And I was like, oh, maybe that's why I got dropped. But no, but VO2 definitely feels harder. But I know usually like a couple days in, I try to do, well, I would say placebo effect, but I'm also intentionally eating and drinking even better when I know I'm on to try to like out trick. I don't know if it's tricking because I'm actually doing better by my body, but but it's like a mind game where it's like, oh, you just ate this really great meal, this great salad. Now you can go out and do the thing, and then I'll actually do well because I like, ooh, I just ate good. I'm energized. And then like you already do feel energized because you just ate good. You ate clean. And then I'm like more on top of the water where I may have slacked more so before. So I do think VO2 in the beginning is definitely trash, but be like a couple days in, I'm already eating better as a result of the period and not want to have bad cramps. And then when I do the workouts, I'm able to do it and not like freak out as much and have as many issues. So I think that helps a lot. And then I think in heavy days, even if I'm on, like I'll just wear the cup and then put my bibs on. This is answering somebody's question. I'll just wear the cup and put my bibs on and just let the flow just do what it's do.
Do what it's gonna do.
Yeah, but I'll clean immediately after. Like I'll do some pre-treating of the bibs before laundry.
I mean, nobody's gonna see that part, you know.
Just wash them. It's fine. It's fine. Boom. I think for me, like my system goes haywire. Like, just it doesn't know what to do, and like I get diarrhea every time. It's the worst. And so, like, for me, my problem is like, okay, I'm supposed to ride for 3 hours a day, but do I want to be away from a bathroom for that long? Like, is that a good idea?
Bring the wipes.
Well, see, like riding down here, there is nowhere that you can just like stop and take care of that. Like, I'm in like suburban, like sprawl area, so there's like always somebody or a car or a business, or like there's not like a woods, you know?
Oh yeah.
And so it's like bathroom or bust, right? In a desperate situation, maybe I'll pee in a ditch if I can find one, but I'm definitely not gonna poop. It's not gonna happen. And so it's like I have to like time it and make sure that my system is like stable enough to go out for like a long ride, because I'm not trying to get caught out in these streets. It's just not something that I would like to deal with.
I mean, I gotta do that even when I'm not, on my cycle, which is such a struggle. I always got to plan, like, okay, make sure I'll go to the bathroom twice. I'll go before I put my bibs on and then get everything else ready. And I'm like, okay, just try to go one more time, take bibs off real quick, go again. Because once you put the bibs on, they're tight, they kind of get stuff, kind of puts pressure there. And then I'm like, okay, depending how long this is, I got to make sure there's at least somewhere I can try to stop because, yeah, I can't. Oh, don't even get me started on running. I would say my biggest weakness in life, like one of my biggest weaknesses, is that I can't run for more than a mile without having to absolutely just evacuate my bowels, like immediately.
Just 1 mile?
Just a mile. That's all it takes,
That's
which
a
is
problem.
kind of cool. It's kind of a cool thing. Like if I'm really backed up, I'm like, okay, I can just do a little quick 1 mile. That'll get me going. Yeah. But if I'm actually trying to do it, you know, like that's why I don't run much, just because I know, okay, I'm gonna have to go to the bathroom. So do I want to do this right now?
That is frustrating.
Luckily for me, like a lot of places I ride, as much as I hate them, there's always like porta potties. And I'm terrified to use them, but if I have to, I will. But I don't know, me is like everyday riding for me. I don't know why. Like if I always get nervous before a ride, and I don't know why I do. And then every time I'm nervous, it calls me to like I have to poop. So I always like either like I use the restroom before I leave, and then like I feel great, and then I'm on the way to where I have to go ride, and I get nervous. I'm like, oh shit, I have to poop again. And then luckily there's always a porta potty there. But I think this is, I guess, one perks of living here. A lot of the places are like set up for tourists, so there's always a restroom. I haven't been like camping yet or like bikepacking yet to where it linked up with my cycle, so I'll be in for a surprise when it comes to that time.
Are there any other challenges with mountain biking? I think being on your period, like with the jostling, and I don't know, does that like make a difference for you?
Not jostling.
For me, like, so I think the worst issue I have is like just being comfortable in the saddle with a tampon in. That's the most uncomfortable thing for me. Yeah, but other than that, like I really don't have like other issues with all like the craziness.
Dope.
Interesting. Alexa, you were going to say something? I'm sorry.
I don't know. Do any of you use CBD products?
I do. I use them. So, like, Nikki was saying she gets like nervous before every ride. I don't get nervous before rides, but I do get nervous before races. And so I'm like super on top of CBD products before race time because I get like my stomach is just like turning, just turning, tossing, turning, just jostling within my stomach during race day. And like I find that like a CBD tincture will help a lot. So like I'll wake up and like so I can eat. I will take some CBD and it helps a lot for me. Like calms my nerves down.
What's the timing on that? Like before your event, like if your event starts at like 12, how many hours before would you be taking that CBD?
I usually do it as soon as I wake up because like the race day nerves kick in as like the day before. So like I have to like I'm like breathing exercises and music and calming myself down. But my problem is that my stomach gets so crazy that it doesn't want to receive food. And like not eating and racing don't go well. So like the main issue for me has been figuring out how to calm myself enough to get food in. And so like I'll wake up, take CBD, and it'll calm me down enough to like be able to eat. And so it helps with like my cramps. But when they're really bad, I just say like, let's just take some ibuprofen. Like I need to function. I can't like the good Lord gave me these drugs for a reason. I'm gonna use them.
I mean, I imagine it's distracting. You know, you got to be focused on so many things going on in a race.
Yep. I mean, once I get into the race, I'm fine. Like I'm absolutely fine. It's just like getting to the start line is such a production, stomach wise.
Alexa,
I
you take
do,
anything? Oh, Nikki, sorry.
I do CBD gummies, and then for like before every ride, and even like when on my cycle, I use this powder called Calm because it's just all magnesium. That helps. I use it before every ride just to loosen up my lungs. It helps with my breathing, but also like
You like
just
is you like mix it with water or ingest it? Like how does it work?
yeah, it's a powder and you just mix it with water and there's like original. I do lemon raspberry flavor, and I mainly do it before every ride because I like beet juice, so I chase my beet juice with that to get the beet juice taste out of my mouth. Because I hate beet juice, it's nasty, but it works wonders for my biking and breathing.
How much time do you do it between like when you take CBD gummy and you're calm? Like what's the timing?
CBD gummies, I do it an hour before a ride, and then Calm, I do it like 30 minutes before a ride. Double up.
So what I've discovered for cramp, like when I was in college, I used a heating pad a lot, but I don't know what happened to my heating pad. Maybe when I moved, I got rid of it or something. But I have these reusable like hot hands type things, and I just activate one and use it as a heating pad for my cramp, and it works really, really well.
And they're so easy to like
Mm-hmm.
move around with because they're so tiny.
And they're portable, yeah.
Oh.
So it's my latest little life hack.
Like the little
Reusable hot hands. I never
Yeah,
heard of them.
called, what are they called? I just bought them this winter.
Because I've seen like the single-use ones you can buy for like camping or well for whatever. I usually would get them for camping. Yeah. Oh,
That's a good hack.
Hot snaps with a Z. Hot snaps.
ooh.
Yeah, those
Okay.
are the ones I have, and I bought like a pack of 4 or 6 or something. And yeah, I can just put that up.
Okay. Okay.
And they work. They last for long enough for me to get to sleep or to like for the ibuprofen to kick in. Like I use them if it's like I'm like in a lot of pain.
Really?
And it just helps.
My first day is when I get the most cramps, and I have this. It's probably about this long, and like this wide, and it's just a rice pack, and I just warm it in the microwave, and I just lay it on my stomach. Yeah,
You probably use like a hot towel, like like old school hot compress, like like grandma.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to have one too. I haven't used one in a while, but I miss it. I think for me too, it was really helpful with my lower back because I always get lower back pain. Also, usually ibuprofen helps with that, but
Have you ever tried topical CBD for that?
yes. So that's what I was gonna say. I haven't used it in a while just because I haven't like. The company, well, it's not even really a company. It's like a random person in Montana who made it. It's a long story, but I really love salves, so like CBD salves, and I would use those. I've used tinctures before too, which are pretty good, but sometimes they get me a little too like, I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes they're just a little too much for me. But the salves, yeah, I went to some like a farmer's market in Whitefish, Montana when I had to work out there about 1.5 years ago, and got a salve there, and it was awesome, and I used the hell out of it. And then I wasn't able to find like their website, like it wasn't up and running anymore. So I was like, oh, unless I'm in Montana, I'm probably not gonna get it for a while. But that was like, that stuff was awesome.
I'm biased because I'm sponsored, but the company that I work with, Mendy, they have this salve stick. So you don't even have to like touch it. You don't have to touch the salve with your hands. You just rub the stick wherever, and I love it. Like I would buy it if they stopped sponsoring me. I can say that. It's actually it's a really good product.
Okay.
So does
Yeah.
it numb? Like
I
what
trust
is
you.
it?
It kind of like, it's
No.
got like a menthol effect, but it just kind of takes the ache out.
The edge.
Yeah.
Takes the edge off.
I tend not to
Yeah.
use
I
like
had
anything.
also years ago, like maybe like 4 years ago, I actually tried suppositories.
For
They weren't just CBD, they were like CBD and THC. So they were suppositories that you would put up your vagina. Vagina.
for cramps.
Wow.
I've never heard of that.
So were there any
Do
shedding or
they
anything like
stay there
that?
forever, or do they come out?
So it was like oil based. So it was like coconut oil based.
They
So there
dissolve?
was like yeah. So there was a small period of time, like when I would first put it in, it would get like, of course, it would get a little oily and weird down there. So I would just stay close to the bathroom because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to like make sure I like wipe, or I would wear a painting liner or something to like, because I just wanted to try them out. It worked quickly and also worked great, but it did have THC, so I did kind of feel a little bit of a like body high. Yeah.
How long did that last? I can't be doing that.
It wasn't crazy. It wasn't a lot. I can't remember how many like milligrams it was.
I wonder if they can make them without the THC, because
I imagine they probably have by now because it's been like 4 years since I tried that. So.
I would not even consider that as it. Like, just go to the source. Just go right in there.
Boom.
Which was weird to me too, because I'm like, you're already like bleeding down there.
There's a lot going
I was
on.
like, yeah, but I was like, I'm just gonna try it because you never know. And
Okay.
yeah, it worked great, but
Learn something.
it was some company in LA. I can't remember the name now.
That's cool because you're already like shedding
California.
the liner, so your body is just like, okay, interesting.
All right. Well, we are coming up on an hour. It doesn't seem to be a ton of questions in the comments, so I guess we can kind of throw out some last thoughts if we have them.
Anybody last thoughts?
I think I would like to try something that I've been wanting to try anyway, just because it's always in the back of my mind, but I think I'm actually going to try now, is trying to implement different things into my diet at different times of the month. So like when I know my period's about to start, trying to implement in like leafy dark greens and like make sure I'm not doing any dairy and less alcohol and coffee. Well, no, I can't say less. That's never going to happen. Never going to stop drinking coffee. But yeah, I think I want to try
like a coffee alternative. Like, I know a lot of folks are into the like mud water mushroom situation, or like a tea, or I wonder if that would have a different impact.
I've tried that stuff. I think I've only tried those things for like afternoon. So I try to strictly only drink coffee in the morning, like, and just like a cup. I'm not like crazy about it. And then in the afternoon, if I need a pick me up, I've done like the maca powder or like mushroom, like different strains of mushroom powder. And I do feel like more focused and like my brain's functioning a little bit better than it would with nothing at all. But I don't think I could use it to totally replace. It's hard.
For one of the questions with the period blood and bibs, what I do, like, so I have old chamois that I don't like wear at all anymore because they're just worn out and old. So I usually do it on my lighter days, like towards the end. I just use those without any insert products or pads and just use those for my lighter days, and then immediately just wash it, clean it properly when I get done with my ride. So
You ever double up? We were like 2 chamois or no? Okay.
I just wear one. Yeah.
I feel like I've never had a successful double chamois situation. I feel like I can only use one chamois at a time.
You done double chamois? What happened?
It don't work.
I feel like it would still shift.
Yeah, there's a shifting. I tried it in like the early days. Because like, you know, when you're first getting into cycling and you haven't found the chamois for you, and some of them are thinner or thicker or whatever. And also they have different types of chamois for like different disciplines.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't understand that at first. Like they have like pants liners that are kind of like inserts for mountain biking shorts, I guess. And I was like, where's the rest of this chamois?
I didn't know that.
Well, we all learn, but it don't work. That is the point I am making. One chamois at a time.
Nice.
But yeah, don't do the underwear chamois thing. It's not. You'll end up making things very bad for your skin. The shaping is not worth it.
Yeah. I did try to pad in the chamois before. I knew better. It was not good. And that was not smart. Look, I was like, oh, this was back in the day. I was like, oh, my period. This is like when I wasn't really wearing tampons.
Too.
I got a saddle sore, okay? On top of being on my period saddle sore, because I was like, oh, I'll just not make a mess in this chamois, but I'll, you know, whatever. It was not smart. And then it got bunched up, and then it was, oh man, I was messed up. So don't do that, y'all. Don't add it, and don't add a pad to the chamois.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my recap.
Sweet. I think that'll do it.
On that note,
all right. Thanks for coming. We're gonna say bye now.
ta-ta.